Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr. and
how are those donut holes?
and I've got a mouthful of donut holes. You're right.
This is laid back TV at its finest.
Exactly right. No question about it. And of course, it is a Thursday and heading into a big weekend. Jags announces they'll open up on the 29th, which will be what? A Monday?
God, right around there. Yeah, I think that's exciting. I like Jags.
The 28th is on a Monday. Sunday. So 29th is Monday, and Jack's Restaurant on the bypass will be open for business.
You know, my son, 3-year-old son, is named Jack, and we've been having fun with him, telling him, Jack, you got your own restaurant coming to town. He's excited about it.
And of course, a good-looking picture of this young man here. Of course, Jack's Restaurant, located on Highway 231, I've heard good things. I remember there was a Jack's here years ago on Park Street, of all places.
Yeah, that was in Bill Chapman's property.
Yeah.
It was big when I was a little kid.
And it actually faced Park Street. And if you looked at it now, it'd be right across the street from, right on the, the actual building where it was is still there, but it's being used.
It's right next to it's right next door to the First National Bank.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a Jack's. And when I was a little kid growing up in Opelika, Jack's was more popular than McDonald's in downtown Opelika.
Really? Gosh, I didn't know that now.
The guy that owned the Jack's franchise lived down the street from us.
So do y'all have on jackets this morning? I heard it's 63 degrees in Troy.
63 degrees. It was awfully pleasant out there today.
I didn't know about 63, but it did feel awfully pleasant.
Exactly right.
I mean, it's 71 down here, and it feels like it's freezing. I mean, it's amazing that we got actually a cold front coming through late July, which is kind of unheard of. Temperatures in Birmingham and North Alabama are in the 50s this morning.
Oh, man.
Well, bring it on is what I say.
But I bet these football players love it, but probably next week it'll probably have record highs, probably.
I know, it was a week too early for them.
Mike Amos calling in from the shores of northwest Florida, is that right?
Yeah, it was a Chamber of Commerce day down here yesterday. I mean, the water's crystal clear and just beautiful down here.
Saw in the paper where one of my all-time favorite Alabama players, little Tommy Somerville, died. Believe it or not,
In Montgomery?
Yeah, in Montgomery. You've heard of Tommy Somerville?
I know him and saw him all the time
Tommy
in Montgomery.
Somerville.
I'm so sad to hear that. He's just a fine man. Great man.
His obituary was about as impressive as any I've ever read. He was active and everything. He played nose guard at Alabama. He wasn't a big guy, but boy, he's quick as a cat. And how many times do you hear Coach Bryant say, he got knocked down by little Tommy Somerville. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Tommy Somerville starred at Alabama. And
he's a class man. He was worked for South Central Bell forever, which was bought out by AT&T. Right. He was their top guy in Montgomery. And he was also real active in the Montgomery YMCA. And Montgomery has a fantastic YMCA going back to the days of Bill Chandler. And I did a lot of work with the YMCA when I lived in Montgomery, and that's how I really got to know him. But
Mike, have you ever heard of Tommy Somerville?
I have not.
Oh, man.
And to see him, you would never in a million years think that he played football at Alabama, because he is real small.
But Coach Bryant would always, he's one of Coach Bryant's favorite players, and I can hear him right now. He's hitting down by little Tommy Somerville. Man, what a football player, Coach Bryant would say. And, of course, he was a great player at Alabama for, 4 years, I reckon.
I think he was like in the mid-60s.
Yeah, that's right, mid-60s.
Great teams.
Played on 65 national championship team. And of course, like you said, was very active in his community. And he just hear Coach Bryant said, I saw Tommy's daddy at the game. He is hit and knocked down by Bill Rice at the Alabama 14-yard line, and the Crimson Tide will take over on down. I saw Bill's daddy at the game. We've had mamas and daddies, and doing all this. He's opening up some, making a noise, opening up some golden plate.
From my area, he said, "Oh, Russ Wood on the tackle," and Russ's daddy's a football coach and a good one in Elba, Alabama.
And of course, prior to that, he's hit and knocked down by Russ Wood at the Alabama 14-yard line. Russ is from out here, Troy. He was raised, grew up in Troy, Alabama, now lives in Elba.
That's right. Russ came to, the class of 79 just had their, whatever it is, reunion. My brother Rush was in that class, and they said that Russ Wood came to the reunion. You know, he actually graduated
at Charlton.
Yeah, he actually graduated from Elba High School, but he has a ton of friends.
Well, I went to when that was Marvin Barron's reunion too, or
no? It was Rush and Mark Davis and Jim Carter.
How long ago was that? Do you know?
Tracy Schroeder, Jay Wiley. About a month ago.
Jay Wiley has a house right next to me in Graydon Beach down here.
Fine guy. He's a doctor, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pediatrician, so every time I see him, I tell him to come check my ears to see if they have ear infections.
Exactly. How are you so much higher than everybody else this morning? Did you jack it up real high or something, whatever? Bryce is just a big guy, I reckon, 6'6".
Tyler Sumter died is named to the Groza Award watch list, so the Lou Groza Trophy is for the best kicker in college football, and he's a punter and a kicker.
I tell you, he's a good one. You're right.
He's award for Tyler Sumter. So that means now that the football watch list selections, Kurt Kelly's up for the Outland Trophy. The Doug Walker Award is B.J. Smith, the fine running back. The Maxwell Award is B.J. Smith. And now the Lou Groza Award is Tyler Sumter. So that's a great honor for these guys to be up for those awards at Troy.
Michael, your daddy took me to the breakfast yesterday morning after the show at the dining hall at campus. And in the summer, I don't even know if classes are still going on, but it's mostly just athletes in there.
Yeah, they graduate. They graduate tomorrow.
So we got to talk to a lot of the football players, and they're all well-spoken, very polite, very impressive, but they pass. I can tell you these guys pass the eye test. I mean, they are big and strong. They don't have any fat on them. As Mike calls them, they're good-looking ball players.
The only problem there is trying to find a place to park. It used to be.
But see, right now though, it's plenty of parking because school's not in.
Okay.
And again, the graduation and summer graduation at Troy will be held tomorrow. So you better eat quick because there'll be a lot of folks at the restaurants because of graduation. And then of course we're proud of Tyler Sumter. I felt like he was would receive some honors, and
Lindsay knew him when he was the high school coach at Spain Park.
Yeah,
that's where Sumter was from.
That was good.
Well, we talked to a nickelback that's in his fourth year. We saw a couple of defensive linemen that I would have sworn were juniors, but we talked to them and they were freshmen. They look like they can play right now.
Oh yeah, no question about it. Of course,
saw a big offensive left tackle that was from Russellville, I think you said.
Good-looking player. Yeah, I take all the Russellville players we get. I tell you, that's a good program up there. And we saw a pure freshman, Mike, and gosh, he looked like an All-American, didn't he? Just walked on campus. And he was another offensive lineman. If you get good linemen on the front, on defense and offense, you got a chance.
If I was building the team, I would start with the defensive linemen. Because if you got great defensive linemen, the teams are going to have a hard time running the ball, and you're probably going to have a good pass rush. So that's one of the reasons I think Auburn's going to be better than people think, because they are loaded on the defensive line.
That's right.
Not just their top line guys, which are all NFL prospects, but they apparently have a lot of depth, so they can rotate these guys and keep them fresh. Kind of like Clemson last year, won a national championship was just based primarily on a fantastic defensive line.
Yeah, no question. And of course, a young quarterback.
Yeah, that quarterback was pretty good.
Yeah,
too.
well, he came in at the end and helped them, but for most of the year, it was those studs on the defensive line.
Troy's 8-0 tournament team in the World Series in Rushton, Louisiana, and they'll be starting play tonight. Let me mention a few of those guys: Porter Beasley, Ryan Copeland, Cole Davis, Ethan Gardner, Braden Golden, Drew Jenright, Cope Russell, Connor Sanders, Markel Tolles, Tyrene Tony, J.D. Vaughn, and Drayton Wingard. Outstanding group of 8-0 teams going to the World Series.
And now they're representing Alabama.
That's
They've
right.
got in the picture, they have their Alabama jersey on.
Sure
It doesn't say Troy, it says Alabama.
Sure does, and they're a good-looking team, and we can be so proud as a community for our teams have done so well. No question. They started with 14 teams. 12 of those teams won state championships. Can you believe that?
We're competing
in the
for
state
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to buy them all new tennis shoes because they're playing on AstroTurf.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Steve just said that they had to buy all the players new tennis shoes because they're playing on AstroTurf at this World Series. How about that?
Is something, no question about it.
And our AstroTurf,
They've been practicing over at the university because they've never played on AstroTurf.
so
That's right.
they have that advantage. I bet other teams can't go and find a field with AstroTurf to practice on.
Speaking of the university,
Troy turn finally completed.
they haven't put the black beads in there yet. You know, the little beads.
Mm-hmm.
They sprinkle it once they get everything situated. Then they go ahead and put the
Pellets,
the
little
pellets in there.
rubber pellets, probably.
And there's millions and millions and millions of them, and then they will be completed.
Don't say that's recyclable material. I wonder if KW Plastics does
I don't know, but I'm wondering what they did with the old turf. You know, it wasn't that bad off. You know, it wasn't that bad at all. And but it's going to be one of the finest fields in America, and
You could probably cut it up in sections and sell it to people.
you might could, yeah.
Probably could, some people could just turf their yards where they wouldn't have to cut it anymore.
Or put it in your playroom, your garage for the kids to play on. Yeah.
There's a lot of people down here in Graydon that have turf yards.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that beats one of those rock yards you see.
There's no maintenance.
Want to mention, of course, football tickets at Troy University are on sale right now. The ticket office and season ticket packages start at $60, and boy, that's quite a deal to see some very good football
I gotta get
at
mine.
Troy University. And want to mention a few other things too.
When will the band start practicing? I know that's one of your favorite things, Dad.
Well, I will watch it a lot, and they'll be coming in here usually the week before school starts. So, they start, I want to say, the 15th when they start classes. So, the band be in here in about the first week of August, and being here and practice. I reckon they practice 3 times a day for a week.
They practice hard.
They work hard. Troy University will graduate over 500 students this summer semester, and Coach the Chancellor of Alabama's 2-year college system will be the speaker, and Jimmy Baker, and a longtime educator and good friend of mine, and 524 students are expected to receive diplomas. Don't you know they're excited?
Yeah, congratulations to them.
No question about it. It's a big day. And want to mention Horn family reunion, and those are some great people. They'll be gathering this weekend. The descendants of Richard Whitehead and Rebecca Cox Horn They will gather. They gathered on Sunday for their big reunion, and everybody's having a lot of fun.
Do people have family reunions as much as they used to?
They don't, and I'll tell you this, and it's one of the things I've been trying to get them to do at the university. I mean, not the university, but at Troy Parks Recreations, is to build some, what do you call them, where you can have a group.
Pavilion or?
Pavilion, yeah. Build some pavilions that will be able to house these family reunions. Years ago, growing up in Troy, a lot of my relatives are in the Montgomery area. They were heads. Most of them were H-E-A-D. That was on my mother's side.
And so your mama came from Montgomery?
Well, from Montgomery and Union Springs.
Okay.
But when we would go to family reunions at Oak Park, you ever been to Oak Park in Montgomery?
Mm-hmm.
You know, old Oak Park used to be really something. It was really a nice place.
Had a little zoo in there.
Exactly, and they had Monkey Island and all that. But we looked in the pavilions, and we looked for bald heads. Most all of them had bald heads, and that would be where we would have the family reunion, and it would be thousands of people in there with different reunions going on. You know. Let's go to our phones. I'm gonna put you on hold.
Well, it seems like you used to hear about family reunions more in the past.
Good morning, you're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, Will Matthews. Good morning.
Will, did you sentence anybody to prison yesterday?
No, they had to continue the stuff because one of them didn't show up. So.
Okay.
But anyway, you know, I told you about my cousin in the Senior British Open.
That's right.
He played this morning. They're 7 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
And he really had a tough round this morning. He shot a 69 and he's in second place.
Oh boy. Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that great? So his senior debut has already started.
Is that on television?
It is. It's on the Golf Channel, right?
This is going to be a Cinderella story of all time.
But he's already played.
The ESPN, the magazine, and Sports Illustrated are going to put him on the cover if he pulls this off.
If he pulls this off, it will be a great story.
Oh boy, yeah.
And right now he's in second place. Woody Austin's in first place.
Woody Austin, I don't like Woody Austin.
Who else is on the leaderboard?
Colin Montgomery's tied for second. And Goosen was tied, and then he just made a double bogey, so now he's one over.
So let's just recap this. Will's cousin, who hadn't played golf for 20 years, was in a terrible car wreck, suddenly decides he's going to play the senior tour, flies over to Great Britain to try to qualify for the British Senior Open Championship. There's 600 people trying to qualify for 40 spots. I think he leads the qualifying, and so he qualifies. His very, very first senior tournament, very first pro tournament in 20 or 25 years, he is in second place, tied with Colin Montgomery. Amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. Where did you say he was from? Memphis?
He's from Memphis, and
his last name is Barron.
And I talked to him about 20 minutes ago.
Did you?
Yeah, he just finished. I couldn't sleep last night. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I got on the internet, and I was following him hole by hole as he was playing. He had a double bogey on number 7, so at one point, he was one over par, but then he had 2 birdies on the inward 9, including the last hole, so he shot a 69, which that par on that course is 70.
What course are they playing, and where?
They're playing Royal Lytham and St. Anne's, and they've had numerous British Opens there.
Yeah.
Has he played many links courses or in his life?
He's never been out of the country in his life. This first time.
Oh my God.
And I was in Memphis on my birthday, and I played golf with him at the TPC South Winds, where they're playing the pro tournament this week. And he played from as far back on every tee as you could get.
Yeah. Will, we're going to bring Mike Amos on and put you on hold. Okay. Okay, both of you should be on. Is that right? Mike, Will.
Yeah, you got me.
I'm here. Yeah.
Go ahead. So you were telling about you played golf with your cousin, and he played from the back tips.
I'm sorry about that.
Barron is in third place, Will.
I know it. That's what I was telling
He just talked to him.
Anyway, he played from as far back on every hole at Southwind where they're playing the PGA tournament starting today in Memphis. I played 50 yards ahead of him on every hole. He had 9 birdies and shot 8 under par.
Oh, man.
Well, we're sitting around talking. He said, well, I'm going to start playing on the senior tour in August. I turned 50 July the 8th. I said, well, why don't you go to England and play in the Senior British Open? It's always the week after the British Open. And he said, well, I hadn't thought about it. He didn't even have a passport. So he called his congressman, and they got an expedited passport. He flew over there Friday. He played in the qualifier Monday. There were 600 golfers for 40 spots. He led the qualifying, so he made the tournament, and then this morning he shot a 69.
Oh, boy.
And he's in the thick of it.
That's a Cinderella story. I hope he can just. Like you say, if he's got a chance to get his card, if he does well in this tournament, he'll.
If he wins this tournament, he's in there for a long time.
Well, maybe if he doesn't even win it, if he's in the top 10, surely that'll get him some other invites to other tournaments. And if he wins enough money, won't that qualify him for the tournament without having to go to that school?
I think he has to finish the top 10 to go to the next tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, you got Woody Austin leading in. Colin Montgomery is second. Doug Barron is third right now.
Dougie Barron, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, he comes out of Ozark, Alabama. His lineage does, is that right?
He's from Memphis.
Yeah, I know, but who was his mama? Was she
I think he was.
Matthew, or what was
On my daddy's side, my aunt lives in Memphis.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Also making his champion's debut out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama is the great Dickie Pride. He shot 71.
Dickie Pride, and of course his daddy was a pro golfer too. Was this the old man or the son?
This is the son.
Yeah, of course he played at Alabama, didn't he?
I think his dad was a big developer in Tuscaloosa, real estate developer or something.
He owns Pride Motor Court in Tuscaloosa.
Also, Jack Nicklaus's son, Gary Nicholas, is +1.
Oh, wow.
Is he over 50 years old?
Yeah, he's playing the tour this year.
Boy, it's not Jack Nicklaus getting old that makes me feel old. It's Jack Nicklaus's son getting old that makes me feel old. Golly, Gary Nicholas.
Jack is almost 80 years old.
Jack is the same age as my parents, so I can always remember. I guess he'd be 79.
Yeah.
Well, I think about him. He's my favorite all-time golfer, and his career as a golf course architect has been every bit as impressive as his playing career.
He's got a lot of good courses.
All over the world. I mean, just hundreds of them.
He's on player today, Dad. Your favorite announcer, Brandel Chamblee.
Brandel Chamblee is going to play in the tournament?
Playing in the Senior British Open. I bet he'll shoot 78.
I didn't know he was a pro, Mike.
Yeah,
he's a
qualified. He qualified Monday.
Yeah, I knew that. I like him. He's a sharp guy. I tell you that.
I can't place him. I know that name.
Well, he works in does the commentary, and the thing I like about him, he tell it like it is. He don't like Tiger. I know that.
Oh, the guy that's on the golf channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy with the hair on the Golf Channel.
Or at least he doesn't act like you.
Hey, well, we never talked about what was your opinion on David Duval shooting that 91? Would you have withdrawn from the tournament, or did you respect him going back out and finishing the next day?
What did he shoot the next day?
78.
He shot 78, I think.
Yeah, he made a 14 on one hole.
So that was just it, yeah.
I know that's
But
the
you know
thing.
what's really weird about David Duval? He birdied the first 2 holes. He was 2 under after 2 holes.
You know, Mike,
91.
and Will, correct me if I'm wrong, but when everybody started to get muscled up, everybody said Tiger. They wanted to, Tiger was working out weights, and all of them started wearing with the sleeves up so that everybody can see the biceps. Even Phil Mickelson did that. But the guy that started all this power stuff was Duval. Is that right, Will?
Well,
You mean he was a powerful guy, and he was hitting drives well over 300 yards when nobody else was.
at one time Duval was the man, but then he lost it. I mean, he just really lost it.
Was it just a mental thing?
He does. Yeah, I think it's a mental thing, and it just got worse, and he just quit. He couldn't do it anymore.
That
Yeah,
happens.
you got all these announcers. You got like Faldo never really played the senior tour. Paul Azinger is an announcer now, took over for Johnny Miller. He never really played the senior tour. I mean, a lot of these guys that were good on the PGA Tour just didn't play on the senior tour. I guess they just kind of just stopped playing, or their game got too bad to play.
I like Johnny Miller. I hated to see him go off, and Faldo doesn't do much anymore, does
You know,
he?
Johnny Miller lost it for years, and then y'all remember, out of the blue, he plays in the Pebble Beach tournament, and he wins it, 8 years after his prime.
Yeah. He can still play. He just couldn't putt.
Yeah, Tom, think about
That
Tom.
does have something to do with it.
Think about how
doesn't it?
many more tournaments and majors Tom Watson would have won if he could just putt.
Well, they missed a 10-footer at 59 to have the greatest win in probably the history of sports.
I know it.
Who was that now?
Tom Watson.
Tom Watson was 59 when Stuart Sink won the Open. He went to a playoff with Tom Watson. Yeah, Watson, all he had to do was get up and down from off the green, and I'm sure, any other day he probably would have made that putt.
He left himself too much.
On that, Michael, on that hole, he hit a perfect drive and hit a perfect second shot with an 8-iron. It landed 30 feet short of the pin and rolled over the green. So, I mean, it's just a point. He hit a hard place in the green. If the ball stops, he 2-putt to win the tournament, and he wins the tournament.
Yeah, and about 4 or 5 years later, Greg Norman at like 52 or 53, he was leading going into the last round. So the British Open is a tournament that an older golfer can probably still win.
I think you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw Colin McCreary yesterday, and he did go to the British Open and had a good time. And I asked him, was it cold? He said it wasn't so cold. He said it was rainy, real rainy.
Yeah.
But he had another good time. Will, it seemed like you'd want to do that.
No, I watched it on TV.
Will told us he's thinking about writing a book on the Masters, but from the perspective of being a patron. They don't call them gallery members or fans. You said you have been to how many Masters in a row?
This year was number 52 in a row.
Yeah.
So that what year was your first Masters?
I was 11 years old, and it was 1968, and it was the year Roberto DiVincenzo and Bob Goby tied after 72 holes, and Roberto DiVincenzo signed an incorrect scorecard and lost by a
I
stroke.
remember that, yeah.
Now, do you go to just one round, or how do you do it?
I used to go every day. Now, it's hit or miss what I'm going to get to see the week I go over there.
Yeah.
This year I went to a practice round, and I had to pay a scalper a fortune just to go to a practice round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Will, there's some exciting baseball going on out in Ozark. They've got the National AAU Championships, and Ozark, the Wiregrass Cardinals, have already earned one age group title. They beat a team from Dothan 14-3. Sammy Frichter was coached that team, of course, and there's another 16-17 out of the tournament going on, and Wednesday Ozark defeated Dothan again, a different Dothan team, 9-3 in North Coast Field. So Ozark remains the only unbeaten team in the tournament. If they win it, they'll have won two national championships.
That's great.
And of course,
I was going to mention a local product. Dante Hall, the kid from Luverne that played Alabama the last 4 years, is getting a chance to have a contract with Detroit. He's still got to make the roster, but he did enough in the summer league out in Vegas to possibly make the roster. If he does, he'll make $900,000 as a rookie.
well, that's not bad for a Luverne boy at all.
But he's a guy that can really block shots, and he was led the SEC in rebounding last year. He doesn't have a shot. His offensive game really needs to improve a lot. But Blunt and Dante, maybe he'll make an NBA roster.
That's right. I saw that too, Michael. And, he seems like a player that's got better every year. And so, if he just keeps working hard and, like you say, develops a little bit of a shot, he could have an NBA career.
I want to mention my good friends at Piggly Wiggly on North 39th Street and also in the Marketplace Shopping Center. They've got all their feed and supply, your deer feed and your weed killers and all of that. Anything that you need to get ready for deer season, you can get today at Piggly Wiggly on the bypass, on the bypass and on North 39th Street, right here in Troy. And we appreciate them very much.
Look at that story, Mike. Tell us about the guy that won the shot put national title from Dothan. You don't hear much about shot putters.
And we'll read into that. Dothan's Nathan Cooper is a national champion, the 17-year-old who will be a senior this year at Dothan High School, won the USTAF Junior Olympic shot put title for the 17 and 18-year-old division in Sacramento, California, Wednesday morning, competing against 43 other national competitors. Cooper won the event with a throw of 58 10 inches. Boy, that's throwing a shot put right there. 58 feet 10 inches, winning by nearly 2 feet over the next runner-up. Isn't that something?
I wonder if he plays football.
I bet he does. The 17, 18-year-old group is the oldest level of Junior Olympics. And
did you ever put the shot?
Shoot, no, I couldn't even hardly pick it up.
I know it. Yeah.
And I want to say it's a 16-pound shot, and but that is quite an honor for that young man, and to win a national title like that.
Your guru, who you love so much, Dad, has come out with his top 25 to start the season. You want to hear that?
Yeah, let's hear him.
Well, where can you get a Phil Steele magazine?
I know, and I can't
Troy?
find one either. And I've looked at the
You can get it at the Watercolor Publix. I know they got them there.
Have it in Troy Publix.
Phil's top 25.
Wait a minute. The watercolor, you heard him say this, the watercolor Publix, Mike. We can't afford to buy stuff at the watercolor.
That's where all those
Publix,
NFL players
Mike.
you bump into
Mike,
go.
you're getting too yuppie on us, Mike. Maybe you should rethink being a part of our show, because you buy.
Mike, did you grow up in the brick house?
You buy your groceries at Watercolor.
I did grow up on a brick house.
You grew up in the brick house with air conditioning?
Actually, I grew up on Crow Hill, named after my granddad.
Yeah. So you grew up in the fancy neighborhood in a brick house with air conditioning. There you go.
We were the first house on Crow Hill. That's our claim to fame.
That is a claim
Right,
to fame.
he was scared to go out the back door.
Yeah, back in the day, the woods went all the way to the lake.
That's right.
Michael, before you even say it, I will predict Clemson's his number one pick.
No, Alabama's his number one.
All right, go ahead and let's hear it.
Alabama's number one, Clemson's number two, Jim Harbaugh and Michigan is number three, Georgia's 4, Oklahoma's 5, Ohio State 6, LSU number 7, Utah's get a lot of love, they're number 8.
Is it because of their quarterback or what?
Yeah, and they think that they're predicted to win the Pac-12. Notre Dame is 9, Florida's 10, Texas is 11. Oregon is 12, Michigan State 13, TCU, who had a really bad season last year, is 14, Miami is 15, so that's kind of a surprise. I didn't know they were going to be that good. Washington 16, Texas A&M 17, Dad's Auburn Tigers are 18.
Auburn Tigers.
This is a big turnaround right here. Nebraska's ranked 19th, Penn State 20th, Iowa State 21st, Stanford 22nd. Iowa 23rd, Mississippi State 24, and Virginia Tech 25. That's the Phil Steele top 25.
It sounds like the usual suspects is in the top 10. It's just always the same teams.
Yeah, no question about it.
Utah's definitely not in the top 10.
Yeah, except for Utah. But Utah, gosh, you look at them the last 20 years, they're pretty impressive.
Yeah, and of course he's got something to say about every team and how he rates them. He rates Troy 71 overall, which is pretty good out of 30 teams.
23.
Guys, I heard Phil Steele being interviewed on TV, and he said that Clemson is going to be a 17-point favorite or more against all 12 of their opponents this year.
I believe it.
That makes sense, yeah.
And then if they play Alabama,
Everybody's down, you know. Florida State's down. I mean, Virginia Tech's down. I mean, I guess.
Texas A&M will be their one big test, and that might not be much of a test.
And that's in Clemson, so they're predicting they'll beat them in Clemson.
Yeah.
I mean, they struggle with Syracuse every year. Syracuse beat them 2 years ago and had them beat this past year until they brought in the backup quarterback, and he made a miracle fourth down conversion. Syracuse always plays them tough.
I think if they would have, Syracuse would have beat Clemson, Alabama would have had another national championship maybe.
no question about it. Of course, the coaches that are really job on the line would be Malzahn and the coach of Florida State, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, 2 years. Everybody down here, that's all two down around this area, wants Taggart out at Florida State already after 1 year. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, you think of their program and how strong it's supposed to be, and you know, the thing that gets me, they usually are in the top 5 every year in recruiting, and there's no reason why they shouldn't win. I reckon it's their quarterback play. What do you think?
Well, you know, Francois transferred out. He's now playing for Lane Kiffin. So I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I think they brought in a transfer.
So, and Michael, Lane Kiffin booted him, so he's not going to play at Florida.
FIU or FAU.
What happened there? Do you know?
Something happened.
He had some off-the-field issues.
All right, now, will he be able to go anywhere, Mike?
Well, no, I mean, he had already transferred there. I don't know where he can go now.
They said his only option is an FBS school.
Oh, yeah, like Jacksonville State or somebody like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know he probably will
These
jump on that chance.
programs that have been on the mountaintop for a long time, they can fall off in a hurry, and this might be happening to Florida State. Right, even in Jimbo Fisher's last year, they weren't too good.
You're right.
I mean, I think in the SEC you got Malzahn. I think you got Luke at Ole Miss. Those are two guys that could lose their job. I don't know about your guy Vandy, Will. I don't know what they're going to do with Mason.
They just gave him a 5-year contract.
Are you serious? Did they do that?
Yeah.
Boy, they must just want to be pretty or something, because he's not going to win.
They're going to be patient with him. Yeah.
They beat Tennessee 3 years in a row.
Yeah, the Tennessee Vols are not very good, though, Will.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're Vandy and you beat
Vandy. You're right. Yeah, you're right. As long as they beat Tennessee, you're right.
The big question for Auburn, though, and Malzahn, I mean, who do you go get if he does lose his job? I mean, who would be the hottest coach to go to Auburn?
I don't know who they could get, and he'd be an instant winner.
Who?
Or they'd have to hold their nose, but he'd be an instant.
Go back and get the old coach.
No. Urban Meyer.
Wouldn't that be something? He'd jump all over it, wouldn't he?
He'd come back in a heartbeat.
They'd probably give him $8 million, probably.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be back. I doubt he's
I don't know if I'd want to
retired
go to
forever.
West, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think Urban Meyer would have a lot of other opportunities, and I bet he does get back into coaching.
If I was Urban Meyer, I'd go somewhere like USC. You know, Helton's on the hot seat out there big time. A lot of people think he's going to lose his job.
That would be a good opportunity for him. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more of Today in L.A. from Troy, Alabama.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up. You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town & Country Touring Center.
Do you want a good truck driving job? Do you want to drive for the best? Then drive for Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We have good benefits. We have good home time. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield. We match your 401k up to 4%. You can start in the 401k retirement plan after 30 days of employment. You need to drive for Wiley Sanders Truck Line. It's time for you to think about you and your family's future. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. $1,000 sign-on bonus? These guys did.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we're coming to you live on Facebook across the country, across the world, and we appreciate it. Will Matthews is on the line from Ozark, Dothan area, and then, of course, Mike Amos from Great Beach, Florida. Bill Rice is my buddy sitting right next to me. We've got a full house this morning, and we're talking sports. Will Matthews has got a cousin that's playing very good in the Senior British Open.
Great first round he had 4 birdies, a double bogey, and 1 bogey in the rest pars.
Now, Will, their greens look a lot bigger than the greens that we see in America. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Well, I mean, some of it's not fair, isn't it?
Well, the golf over there is different, Mike. If you hit it off the fairway over there, you can actually lose your golf ball. It's that rough, that bad.
All right, let's say you're in the fairway 50 yards out. Would you putt it, or what would you do?
You can do anything you want to do. You can take a 7-iron and run it. You can take a wedge and try to hit a wedge. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Of course,
some of these big greens have 2 flags in them. They share greens with holes.
That's right. Probably when they open up for the public, they probably do that. Now, are these greens real fast? What kind of grass is it? Is it bent grass?
No, it's a mixture of zoysia and poana and just wild grasses, and the greens are slower than they are over here. But the reason they're slower is the wind blows. If you had fast greens over there and the wind blew, the ball wouldn't stay on the green.
You know, some of these places over there that, you know, are famous for the golf, their buildings there, their country club buildings are probably 300 or 400 years old. Is that right?
Well, and some of them, like St. Andrews, is built through the middle of town.
Oh, it is?
You've got buildings right up to the edge of the golf course.
Isn't that something? Do a lot of people live out on the golf course, or you know, with their houses?
No.
Yeah.
They used to have. They used to see pictures where they, for part of the year, you would have sheep out there on the golf course grazing in the fairways, I guess, or the roughs.
You know, I was reading a quote. Army had a great year last year in football. Jeff Montkins did a great job at Army. Army last year went for it on 4th down 36 times and converted it 31 times.
Isn't that amazing?
It's pretty amazing to go for it that time on 4th down. You know, they came out with the numbers as far as TV ratings last year. The highest rating football games last year. Clemson, Alabama, of course, was #1 at 25.3 million viewers watched that game. And then second was Alabama, Oklahoma at 19.1. Alabama, Georgia was at 17.5. So Alabama, pretty much all these different games throughout the year, LSU, Alabama's pretty much in there 8 or 9 times. Army, Navy, which surprises to me, was number 15 at 8.1 million. I figured everybody tried to watch that game, but that's some of the TV ratings from last year. Of course, Georgia will play Notre Dame this year. I'm sure that'll be a huge rating.
And they put that on prime time, too, so it's going to be a nice
it's going to be on CBS. It's going to be a doubleheader that day on CBS. That just came out as well.
The plant manager at Kimber, the guy that's getting Kimber started in Troy, Scott, I can't remember Scott's last name, real nice guy. He is a West Point grad, and he played football at West Point. He was on the team with Scott Rainey, who was the backup punter for a couple years. But Scott, that's now heading up Kimber, he was a linebacker that they converted into a nose guard. And if you see him, he looks like he could still play today.
Yeah, in fact, we've got a home and home scheduled for our Army. Wouldn't that be a nice trip to go to visit the
oh, beautiful. I've heard it's beautiful
West
up there.
Point, New York? Wouldn't that be nice?
I want to make that one.
A couple of other noteworthy. The Mississippi State's got a home and home with Mississippi State. Also on Troy's schedule in the future, and so
Troy had a good chance to beat Mississippi State when they came here last time.
I mean, it sure did, no question about it. Hopefully, we'll continue to recruit the way we recruit.
You just think about that. Who would have thought 40 years ago, 30 years ago when I was in high school, that you would ever have an SEC team playing in Memorial Stadium?
That's right.
It happened.
And, I like the fact, a lot of folks won't play Troy because they're afraid they get beat, and, and a win doesn't completely make them look like world beaters because of, Troy's a smaller school, but Troy's gaining the reputation that, hey, they can play with anybody, and by doing that, people now will play them,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you're scheduling the Little Sisters of the Poor when you schedule Troy.
Exactly
People
right.
say that's a good opponent.
Of course, again, graduation tomorrow at Troy University, and summer school will be over with, and Troy's football team will report on the 1st, and that will be August 1st, which will fall on, 31 days in July. Saturday is the 27th, Sunday is the 28th, Monday is the 29th, Tuesday is the 30th, Wednesday, all right, they'll report Thursday, the 30th, and, they play...
That's my birthday, August 1st.
Okay, August 1st, and then they actually start practice on the second day of August, so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them come out.
Yeah, Saban's come out and he wants nothing to do with playing non-Power 5 conferences like Troy. He doesn't think, the Power 5 schools should even play the non-Power 5 schools. He wants to go to 9 SEC games, and he thinks all the other games should be against Power 5 conferences. So Saban and Alabama want nothing to do with playing the smaller schools. So that's one thing you got to hope one day that will never happen.
You got to watch it because it would really.
Troy in those games.
It would hurt Troy a lot.
And that could happen. I keep looking at all these playoff scenarios and expanding the playoffs and doing away with conference championship games and going to 9-game conference schedules or playing everybody in your conference. And you get to the end of all these scenarios and you say that the bottom line could be that the bottom 50 teams in Division I are left out. The strong keep getting stronger, but the mid-majors are either going to have to go back to what they were, Division II, 1AA, or even give up football because they're not going to be able to get these money games.
That's right.
They're not going to be able to play for a bowl. The bowls will go away. I mean, once you get 8 or 16 teams in the playoffs, nobody's going to go to a bowl game.
That's right.
What they're about doing is a non-Power 5 playoff, though. It's what they've talked about before. Even Neil Brown had talked about it when he was at Troy. Like, basically, you have a Power 5 national championship game, and then you have a non-Power 5 championship, which, would be interesting to see. I mean, when it's all said and done, I think Troy, I don't think they're at that Boise State level yet. Of course, Boise State blew out Troy 56-20 last year, but they're definitely probably in that top 10 now as far as non-Power 5 programs.
Yeah. The key is the money. You would lose out on all those money games.
TV, though, is what matters.
Yeah.
TV would cover all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Some of those games you get $1 million.
I don't think Troy's getting near the TV money that the big schools get, Mike.
I know, but if they played in like a playoff scenario,
yeah.
I mean, there's just too much money out in Vegas. It'd be more games for people to bet on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd still be a huge moneymaker.
I hadn't thought about that, but that could very well be the way it ends up. Is two different playoffs, 2 tiers.
I mean, we got season tickets to Alabama. I mean, who wants to go see Alabama play Western Carolina? Who wants to go see Mexico State? I mean,
yeah, in fact, I sold those.
I see people walking in the stadium just throwing their tickets on the ground.
I think I sold that total package yesterday.
Well, that's good, but I mean, I'm just saying, it's one of those things where you just don't understand. You know, people just don't want to see those games anymore.
I think that at some point Troy might play Alabama because Saban and the athletic director are going to realize that it's embarrassing when you have 15,000 empty seats at the Western Carolina game when you could have had a sold-out stadium if you'd scheduled Troy and made a lot more money. So I know they don't want to play Troy, but just to fill the stadium, that's what Auburn's been doing. They've been playing Jacksonville State, Alabama State.
Stanford.
I mean, they know that they can get more fannies in the bleachers by playing state teams, and that almost bit them in the fanny when they played Jacksonville State and had to win in overtime.
I mean, Jacksonville State's punter could have kicked the ball more than 30 yards. They would have won the game.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, we're talking sports this morning, and we'll talk about more or less anything you want to talk about. I mean,
non-conference games in the SEC would be great. I hope they do make that change.
Well, what Saban's point is that you can play your entire career at Alabama and never play another team in the other division, or you might go 8 or 9 years.
Alabama play Florida again.
And he's also thinking about this attendance issue, which is really big. I think it's paid attendance is dropping off, and it's probably going to continue to drop off. But if you played more conference games, you would sell more tickets.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they said last year Auburn non-conference was selling around 70,000 to 75,000 a game. That's all that was attending those games. I'll say Alabama sells out most of those games. They're at least close to 100,000, but now does everybody stay? Everybody leaves usually after the first quarter.
They don't even go to the games, yeah.
Of course, again, people like Saban can call some shots, and I don't think it'll be good for Troy. I think right now the situation's very good for Troy, and I hope we'll keep it like this.
Now,
Well, I mean, Troy's got 5 bowl tie-ins now with the Sun Belt, which is unheard of.
Which is important, yeah.
When they first joined the Sun Belt, there was only 2 chances to go to a bowl game.
Alabama fans got to realize, too, that Nick Saban's not going to be there forever. And,
where's he going?
He's going to retire and go to his lake. And
I don't believe he knows how to retire.
Well, I hope he coaches until he's 75.
I think he'll coach until he dies.
Let's say he coaches.
He was at his Mercedes lot selling Mercedes the other day. He just got bored.
Let's say he coaches 5 more years. Anyway, my point is Alabama can't assume that they're always going to be winning 13 or 14 games a year. And so when Alabama goes back to Dennis Franchione records or Mike Shula, Mike Dubow's records, or even Ray Perkins' records, what's the attendance going to be at some of these games you're talking about? Either at some of the SEC championship games. Alabama's been so lucky. They took on so much debt to expand those facilities and build that stadium, and they did it at the perfect time when Alabama's at the highest it's ever been. So they sell all those luxury suites. They sell all those tickets, even though people don't go to the game, and they're able to pay down that debt and finance those 30-year bond deals. Tennessee, from what I gather, was in deep financial problems and still might be because they spent a lot of money. And then you look at the attendance and paid attendance at Tennessee games, you can have a financial calamity too.
Knight, what did you say about Saban going by the Mercedes store?
I was kidding around. He owns 2 Mercedes, one in Nashville, one in Irondale, outside of Birmingham. I was joking around saying he was at the lot selling cars the other day.
Now, he's got a place at the lake in North Georgia, too, now. Is that right?
Yeah, he's got a place at near Deliverance Country, Lake Burton.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Of course, ladies and gentlemen.
Saban's won close to 240 games. If you averaged at least 12 to 13 wins over the next 5 years, you'd have over 300 wins. I mean, could even break Bryant's win record as well.
No question about it. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more of Today in L.A.
I mean, he is 141-20 at Alabama.
Let's see if we'll...
I love my job. We get to help people who are having the worst day of their life.
You just got to be ready for whatever hits.
She wasn't breathing. She was almost dead.
Stay still there. Stay still. It's fine.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Tori Dunn from Dixie Trails. You get your truck washed here?
I sure do.
Millie Johnson. I know you're not bringing them cow trucks, okay?
I do, and they're like me when I leave.
Loretta, what are you doing?
Getting my car detailed.
At Trojan Detail, we do it all.
Humans, back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and speaking of Parkinson's, you know, little Tommy Somerville. I don't know why I want to say Tuberville, but Tommy,
it kind of rhymes.
Tommy Tuberville, most all Alabama fans out there remembers what a great player he was. He probably weighed at 188, 190 pounds, and
about 5'9".
Quick as hiccups, and became a great citizen in Montgomery, and was involved in so many things. But I was watching, or I had a phone call from a very good friend of mine to tell me to look at Facebook, and it was a picture of Michael J. Fox, the movie star who has Parkinson's. And of course, the reason I'm talking about it, I have Parkinson's disease, and it can really create some problems with you because it starts in your brain, and everything develops from your brain. And I'm not at a crippling stage by any means, but I found out yesterday that some doctors in Europe have come up with a pill that they have already proven to be successful in mice and other animals. Now they got to see if it will be successful in humans, and it's a very positive thing that would not prevent Parkinson's. We're talking about cure Parkinson's.
Amazing.
I mean, like your brain.
Let's all pray.
The dopamine in your brain is what makes it work, and when you lose it, you lose your brain, a lot of your brain cells. But we're talking about a pill that could very easily end Parkinson's. Wouldn't that be something?
Amazing. What a gift to mankind that would be. So.
And,
Michael J. Fox gave $20 million to UAB for Parkinson's research.
He gave more than that. He gave $50 million, Mike, and probably give him more than that.
I mean, you're a part of the Michael J. Fox UAB, I guess, Parkinson's research. So,
That's right. You're right.
It's one of those things where, we hope that pill will be available in the U.S. markets. If not, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people going overseas to maybe try it.
Well, yours truly will, and of course, I'd like to get in. They're gonna.
They can expedite that.
You and Mom just need to plan a trip around it.
Well, well, let me just say this.
Why don't you just take the whole family?
That would be fun, but let me just say this: anything positive like that makes a guy like me feel good because. It gives us a chance, and right now it's just exciting to know that there's some possibilities, and something that we'll all pray about and hopefully will happen. course, I've got other things wrong with me too.
Well, we admire the spirit that you're fighting this fight with. I mean,
I don't want anybody to feel sorry.
I know you
for
think
me,
about it, but most of the time you can't even tell that you're battling anything.
And I know a lot of people watch me on TV and my right hand. I'm fine with the left hand. Thank goodness I write with my left hand, but my right hand, I got to find a place for it somewhere. But
your Troy quarterback's and it's 37 days from football season.
37 days left.
Your Troy quarterback situation is you got Caleb Barker. He's a senior out of Priceville High School, so he's your starter. Then you got Gavin Screws, the kid that's a freshman, pure freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida, Baldwin High School. He's probably possibly going to be redshirted. Then you got the kid out of Brantley, 6'5", 220-pound, Jacob Free. He's a sophomore, went to Vanderbilt, then went to Northwest Mississippi Community College. He's going to be fighting for playing time with the quarterback from Georgia we talked about, who's a redshirt freshman, which is great. Gunnar Watson played in some games because of that great rule that came out where you play 4 games and keep your red shirt. So Gunnar Watson's still just a freshman out of Butler, Georgia, Taylor County High School. You got to think he's the backup quarterback, 6'3", 205.
And of course, I've watched him. He's a very talented young man. Now Screws is a talented quarterback out of Florida, the Jacksonville area, and if he develops quickly, I can see him being the third guy, Mike.
Also, Troy got bad news at running back. Charles Strong, the transfer out of Texas A&M that originally was going to play at A&M and transfer up to Troy as a redshirt freshman. He will have to sit out. So a lot of these guys were able to do hardships and somehow get in, and
get a waiver.
He's a big bag.
We saw him, Mike, one day when we went over to breakfast, and he looks like a great running back, and he was a 4-star recruit out of high school.
Right.
That's, Troy doesn't get many 4-star recruits.
That's right.
Troy has really small running backs. That's one thing you do look at. B.J. Smith's barely 200 pounds. Fry's like 180 pounds probably.
That's right.
They need a bigger running back.
And they got the kid out of North Alabama, Mike.
They got a kid out of Gaston that's supposed to help them.
Gaston, and then also...
they got D.K. Billingsley. He's a little bit bigger. He's about 5'10", about 2.
Scottsboro, wasn't
he?
Yeah. Talking about Alabama running backs, Alabama, I can't remember his name, Michael, you probably know it. He was a wide receiver up until this spring, and they moved him to running back, and I think he was about the 4th-string running back in the spring.
Yeah,
but he got
Townsend kid.
Yeah, and he got several carries in the A-Day game, and he looked super quick. He looks like the type running back that would be a great threat out of the backfield to catch balls, and on 3rd down, Darius Townsend maybe. So it'd be interesting to watch him.
Well, Alabama's got the top running back out of IMG Academy, the top running back in the country, Sanders, who already has come out and said he's going to win the Heisman this year, which is hard to do with Najee Harris.
Oh, boy.
I've never heard of...
Alabama's got the Ford kid that's supposed to be one of the fastest guys on the team that barely even played last year. That was a 4 or 5 star. I mean, they got so many running backs, it's just crazy out there. But, I mean, when I heard John Parker Wilson speak the other night at the Red Elephant Club down here, and his big concern was tight end. He says Alabama doesn't have near the talent at tight end as they've had since Herb Smith decided to go early.
Then this Kendrick James just left, entered the transfer portal. You wonder about that. You think that...
he was suspended because of performance enhancing failed drug test, so he was going to be out the first 4 games anyway.
But he called a touchdown pass in the A-Day game, and he looked real athletic and big.
Oh, yeah, he was 6'5", 250 pounds. John Parker Wilson said he looked like a pro tight end.
But you wonder if there's some off-the-field issues with him, and he didn't decide to transfer on his own. Somebody might have told him, you're transferring.
Yeah.
But that puts a big dent in the depth at tight end. You're right.
I mean, it's just like I was telling Dad the other day. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and Troy's got 14 starters coming back, which is great. But Troy really could have had 17 starters come back. They had Marcus Jones transfer to Houston. Tron Folsom transferred to Colorado State, and then Murray, the starting strong safety, I don't know where he's been, but he transferred out as well.
I know. You're absolutely right. This you lose good players, but then sometimes you get good players. Maybe it's a wash.
Mike, is Tua's brother also left-handed?
No.
No,
He was right-handed. Okay.
You know, Tua grew up right-handed, and his dad changed him to a
Are
left-handed.
you serious? Isn't that a
I wonder why he did that.
It might have been wanting to be a major league pitcher, you know.
I mean, the thing is with his brother. I mean, I watched him against Mountain Brook. I mean, not to say Mountain Brook doesn't have good athletes, but that's not like a powerhouse like a Hoover or something. But I thought that he was a little bit faster than Tua, from what I saw.
Yeah.
Looks like a better runner.
Yeah, looks like a better runner. The Tyson kid out of Hewitt-Trussville, he's a guy I think will definitely be redshirted. I don't think he's ready.
They don't really expect him to be other than maybe a guy that holds for kicks. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a 4 or 5-star quarterback. I mean, he's a guy that put up huge numbers.
Did he start at Troy?
I mean, he's a 4-star. Sure, they can start at Troy.
You think he's better than the guy we got at Troy?
He couldn't right now, but you project him if his body fills out and he gets confident 3 years.
220 pounds. I mean, he's a huge quarterback.
I know, but does that make him very good?
No.
Well,
Our guy at Troy can run to 4.35 40.
Tyson could not start at Troy right now.
This kid is gonna, if he stays healthy, no telling how good.
There's been times when Troy had 3 quarterbacks that were all good, and then as we all know, the guy that almost won the Heisman Trophy at Washington State last year was a Troy quarterback for one spring. You can still find great quarterbacks.
No question about it. And there's, like I've always said, the biggest difference back in the 50s and 60s and even in the 80s when Alabama was dominating everybody. But the key now is scholarship limitations. You can only sign 25 a year. And that means Troy and people like that are going to get good players.
Who was a better quarterback than Kelvin Simmons the last year he was at Troy?
He was as good, and he's got to go in the Hall of Fame for long.
God bless Stedman Shealy, who was a great wishbone quarterback. But if Willie Tullis had been a wishbone quarterback at the University of Alabama,
don't tell us how good he'd been.
he would have run for 150 yards every game.
He didn't. They ran the veer, and he did a great job of that. But if they'd run the wishbone with him, it'd been something too. Coach Tullis was a great athlete.
He played in the NFL several years as a cornerback.
About that Garner Minshew, the guy out of Washington State. That story is incredible.
Tell us about it a little bit.
Well, I mean, just like Bill said, he originally came to Troy out of junior college, and then he left Troy, went to East Carolina, or went back to junior college, then went to East Carolina, and then he was coming to Alabama to just basically hold a clipboard.
Yep.
And, at the last minute, Mike Leach got involved and said, you need to come out of Washington State. Their quarterback, tragically, that was going to be the starter, committed suicide before the season.
Wasn't that unreal? Yeah.
And, he goes out of Washington State, and they win 10 or 11 games. And, I mean, he's like one of the biggest fan favorites ever out there.
No question about it. No question about it.
But he's a guy that, literally got beat out by Brandon Silvers at Troy.
Yeah.
That's why he left.
Well, all right, you think about Troy's quarterbacks, especially if the guy doesn't transfer, would they be loaded at quarterback? Gosh, I don't see how in the world.
Sawyer Smith, that was the most quarterbacks Troy ever would have had.
All right, they would have had Barker, the starter, then Smith, then the kid from...
Y'all help me out. The guy that played for the Buffalo Bills as a free agent, the big, tall quarterback that coached that played at Troy about 7 or 8 years ago, had a rocket arm.
Yeah, Levi Brown.
Levi Brown. When he played, he came and had a great career, but he did not start his last year. Somebody else was playing in front of him and got hurt. And then they had a guy behind him. So that year, Troy had...
It was Dallas' favorite player, Jamie Hampton.
Yeah, Jamie Hampton was a great player.
Troy had at least 3 great...
He beat out Levi Brown.
But Levi Brown, though, was a great quarterback. Man, big and strong. And I was always wondering why he didn't make it, because he was a great
At least
player.
in the Canadian Football League
Yeah,
or something.
that's right. And of course, we're going to take a short break now. We'll be right back.
I love my job. We get to help people who are having the worst day of their life.
You just got to be ready for whatever hits.
She wasn't breathing. She was almost dead.
Stay still there. Stay still. It's fine.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandback Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandback Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandback is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandback Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Tori Dunn from Dixie Trails. You get your truck washed here?
I sure do.
Billy Johnson. I know you're not bringing them cow trucks over here.
I do, and they're like me when I leave.
Loretta, what are you doing?
Getting my car detailed.
At Trojan Detail, we do it all.
Mexico.
All right. Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Southeast Alabama Gas District, located with the main headquarters in Andalusia, but numerous stores across Southeast Alabama and the Wiregrass. Of course, we cook and heat with gas, and want to mention these great people that represent our school, and of course, want to mention Max Federal Credit Union. My good friends there, and an excellent place to bank, Max Credit Union.
I was telling the two Mikes. I scanned the internet this morning and saw the big headline is that this Jeffrey Epstein was found in his jail cell in a fetal position, almost unconscious, with marks around his neck. You know, he is the guy that's been accused of running this human trafficking operation that recruiting these young girls that has been rearrested. So now the big question is, you know, was this a attempted suicide, or did somebody get to him and try to kill him? We don't know yet. But I do think that this story, we're just getting the tip of the iceberg on this story. You know, now lately we've been talking about the Mueller hearings, and I keep thinking, well, the big explosive story is Jeffrey Epstein, and the reason it's the big explosive story is he has contacts with people like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Tony Blair, Bill Richardson, who was the governor of New Mexico, Larry Summers, who was the president of Harvard University and the head of the Department of Treasury. The list goes on and on. Princes from Saudi Arabia, former prime ministers from Israel, bankers, CEOs. He's got this little black book that somebody found and published the names, and hundreds and hundreds of names of the elite of the world from all sectors of life. And it's been alleged that, you know, part of this operation was a blackmail operation. So they were getting tapes and pictures of these people in compromising positions. And so the people that would have an incentive to not have Mr. Epstein alive would be quite a lengthy list. So I'm following this closely. I actually don't expect anything will happen, because I think it's too many powerful people that if the world found out what was really going on in these circles, there might be a revolution. I mean, of disgust of people. So I can't picture our own government exposing this level of degradation. But if they did, I mean, to me, this would make Watergate look like a little traffic fixing controversy. So that's a story people might want to
This
start
could
paying
ruin
attention to.
people's reputation, their careers, things that they have worked hard for years and years. Could all go down the drain if they're...
How did this guy supposed to make all this money? What was his background?
Well, he was allegedly a hedge fund manager or a money manager or a financier, but that's a big question now is nobody can find out how he made all this money to buy these islands and the largest townhouse in New York City.
Was he successful in his business, or what did he get his family money, or what?
People have compared him to Jay Gatsby. You know, nobody knew what Jay Gatsby really did or how he made his money. So it's just all kind of speculation on how he really made his money. I mean, some people say that he's working for the CIA or the FBI or the Israeli intelligence service. We don't know. I mean, he's got hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to buy all these properties, and the people on Wall Street say, you know, he didn't trade. He didn't do all these stocks and bonds trades like we're doing. So
you're saying he made his money off blackmail and all these imported people?
That's a theory. I'm not saying that, but yeah, I would. I mean, he has one client that was kind of a mentor, a guy named Wexner, that had a company that created Victoria's Secrets, and he set him up, it looks like. He even deeded him this house in New York City for $0. He transferred ownership of this 21,000 square foot, 7-story townhouse in Manhattan to Epstein. The house is now appraised at being worth $78 million, and Epstein got it for $0 because he did some work for this Victoria's Secrets billionaire. There's also, he's allegedly tied in with all these quote-unquote modeling agencies, European modeling agencies that bring young girls in to model. It's so eerie and scary, and I don't think we are going to find out what was really going on, but then it's also a case of I've tried to tell my wife some of my theories or what's going on. She says, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to even think about it.
Well, it's a big topic.
He's already been to prison over the years before, and he didn't have to go for like at least 13 months.
Well, that's the big part of the story is because, yes, but he went, it was the mother of all lenient plea bargains. He got 13 months for running a sex slave trafficking operation. He spent these 13 months in the private area of the Palm Beach jail, where they let him for 12 hours a day go to his office every day and do what he wanted to 6 days a week. They only charged him with solicitation of prostitution, so they didn't charge him with, abusing young teenage girls. But that's part of the story, is how in the world did somebody that was doing these awful things, and there are hundreds of girls that are coming forward now, and I won't even tell you some of the things they've been accused of doing.
So how did he get involved with Clinton and Trump and like Prince Andrew and all that? I mean, did he donate a lot of money to Clinton's campaign?
Yes, and his foundation, the huge, you're going to have to look into that Clinton Foundation, which was just all kind of people were supporting. His right-hand girl is this lady named Ghislaine Maxwell, who is the daughter of a former tycoon in Great Britain that owned a lot of book companies and newspapers. He died in suspicious circumstances, but this is allegedly Epstein's former girlfriend, right-hand girl, but she would help him recruit all the girls. But then she also had the social contacts and networking skills, so she introduced him to people like Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton. She had the personality and the skills to give him entree into these worlds. So she kind of served two functions. She helped recruit the girls, was the den mother for all of these teenage girls. And
so all the victims now come out as well and are starting to testify? Is this how all this is happening?
The way all this broke is that several of them have filed civil lawsuits against some of these people like Miss Maxwell, Epstein, Alan Dershowitz, the famous attorney.
O.J.
And
attorney. Yeah.
they, for a judge, sealed all of those documents because it mentions the who's who of the world and these allegations and these civil lawsuits. Well, that was appealed, and some judge somewhere said, no, you cannot seal these documents. People get to look at what's said in this lawsuit. And so in about 10 days, we are getting ready to read the charges that some of these alleged victims have made about Prince Andrew, about Bill Clinton, about Alan Dershowitz, and so on and so forth. How old they were, what they were told to do, where they were flown. And so it's really flowing from the civil lawsuits that have been filed, and people anticipate that there's going to be a lot more civil lawsuits. Now, there's been plenty of them already, and they have, Epstein has been buying these people off left and right. You know, they're settling these lawsuits worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and lots of other people are too, as long as you do not talk. You know, there's all kinds of non-disclosure agreements. The government, when they gave him this plea bargain 10 years ago and let him off with his 13-month sentence, they also agreed not to pursue charges against all of his accomplices, including Miss Maxwell and everybody that worked for him. So it seems to me that the government has no interest in going after the people that know the real facts. But people can file civil lawsuits, and that might be the way we start to learn what's going on. The other way would be if the quote-unquote investigative journalists start doing their job, which some magazines, look at, if you're interested in this story, read Vanity Fair stories. The Miami Herald did a great piece that kind of revisited the whole Epstein question and said, how did this guy get away with a 13-month sentence? And from everything I've read, he went right back to doing what he was doing as soon as those 13 months were over.
Yeah, I know he was a member of Trump's Florida club. What is it, Mar-a-Lago, I guess? And Trump kicked him out of the club after all these accusations came out or something. But
Trump's on the periphery of it, and you know there's plenty of pictures of them together. But Trump says that they hadn't talked to him in 15 years, and so you know it'll be interesting to see if some people are interested in it because they think that they might get Trump. I followed it closely, and I think the real story is
it's more Clinton.
It's Bill Clinton, and also the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card Epstein has is Prince Andrew. Because can you imagine somebody? This one girl says Prince Andrew raped her. But can you imagine the U.S. government putting out a warrant for the arrest of Prince Andrew, the second son of Queen Elizabeth? I mean, and charging him and putting him on trial? I can't imagine that happening. But
this would be the biggest story in America if it wasn't for Mueller and all the other stuff going on with Trump.
Well, you just listen to what I just said. I mean, this blows Mueller out of the water.
Well, of course, we didn't want to come into this kind of conversation, but it's something I think people need to hear.
It's going to become bigger and bigger, and I think the story today about this possible suicide attempt will make it even bigger. And then when it's really going to blow up is when these names are released. The judge that says they're going to release the names or these court filings, these papers, has already told people it's going to include presidents, former presidents, CEOs, bankers. So be ready.
No question about it. Want to mention our good friends at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep on the bypass. Great deals going on right now. Jason and all those guys are just giving great deals. So drop by and see them today and drive away with one of those beautiful Dodge Chrysler Jeep or Ram trucks. Want to mention also our good friends at Bird Drugs on the corner in downtown Troy. Of course, a great place for breakfast, great place for lunch. And
can I tell a Bird Drug story?
Yes, sir.
My mother-in-law was in town yesterday, and her and my daughters, they made a point of going to Bird Drugs to get some chicken salad, some Bird Drugs chicken salad. and had a feast. And she's from Montgomery, and she just raves about the food and the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That you find there's nowhere like that in Montgomery.
No question about it. It's a great place to eat. Want to mention also our good friends, we talk about great grocery stores, but of course we want to mention our good friends, the Garretts over there at Piggly Wiggly, and also Piggly Wiggly on the in Brundage. Big operation and great grocery store.
I wonder
Piggly
how long
Wiggly.
the Garretts have been in the grocery business.
They've been in there a while, and of course, want to mention also some great places to eat. I would have to rate Sisters as good a place to eat lunch as anywhere in America.
Yeah, with graduation coming up, how many people do you think Sisters will have in their graduation day?
I'll just estimate about 600 probably people will go, from 10:30 till about 2:30, about 600 probably go through there.
I would imagine that's the case.
And they don't even have fresh ice cream. If they had the ice cream, no telling how many more people they would have, Mike.
That's true.
I had a ice cream cone from Bird's yesterday, and it was delicious.
They got Bluebell ice cream.
I know it, yeah, and they got butter pecan, and one of my favorites, and they have black walnut. You won't find that anywhere.
Do they make milkshakes at Bird Grove?
Oh, do they?
Do they make milkshakes? That's the best milkshake ever.
The best milkshake ever.
You got to get it in a little silver tin, though. You got to make sure you don't get it like in the
That's right.
cup.
Don't get it to go.
You got to actually have it in there.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we'll go by and get one.
When next time y'all go to Bird Drugs, check the mural that says "Meet You Around the Square." We donated, when I had the Troy Citizen, we did several murals from our extra pictures for the newspaper, and we donated them to several places. And I'm so happy that Mr. Watson still has that mural up there, because I took most of the pictures you'll see on that mural. Now, there's a bunch of children in that picture that are now grown up and have their own children, probably. And then my late mom, Marcia Rice, she laid it out and cut them and put them down. And
yeah, your mother was very talented, no question about it. And of course, the home that you lived in, and they lived in, located on Flavia Circle, down the bottom. Reminds me of a home that you would see in California, in Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
that design. Who built that house?
The Rosenbergs.
And that's who lived there before, the Rosenbergs?
The house I grew up in Troy.
No, I'm talking about next to, down where you used to live.
That was 209 South Hillcrest Boulevard, the dead end on...
Down the bottom.
Yeah. And then, well, then in the whole house, Mom and Dad later moved to North Hillcrest, down in the hole.
That's what I'm talking about.
From Larry and Helen Johnston. That was the McBride house, I think, early on.
Well, I tell you what, it looked like something you'd find in California or somewhere like that. A beautiful place.
It had a real nice sun porch, and you were right in the woods. I mean,
in fact, that Flavia Circle area is one of the prettiest places in the country. It's just beautiful year round, and if you're out and about, ride by, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed our show, brought to you by Health Actions Physical Therapy. We appreciate them so very much. And also our good friends at Jim Jackson, Bill Jackson Ford, Bill Jackson Chevrolet, right here in Troy. And of course, All-Star Collision. We appreciate them very much being a part of our show. Thanks for our sponsors. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, for Today in LA.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandback Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandback Insurance offers many lines of insurance. Whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies, Sandback is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandback Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
I love my job, and we get to help people who are having the worst day of their life.
You just got to be ready for whatever hits.
She wasn't breathing. She was almost dead.
Stay still there. Stay still. It's fine.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable